It's still a lot of debate about who we are. Cats arguing, we ain't African, we ain't black, we ain't this, we ain't that. Man, truth is, we all of that. Cause all of that come from us, you know what I'm saying? It's all about where you gon' fit in. Yeah. Yo, what's your name? You an African, an American, or an Israelite? Black or more, Muhammad or a provocateur, what the business like? You Malcolm X by any means. Chief Turner, Dr. King, keep a burner, you repeat. Look at me, who you see, I'm Garvey. When I rap a bar, every line is a black star. I'm Masterfar, cause I understand who these crackers are. Nat Turner's my avatar, my attitude so desolate. I'm a mocking dog, these motherfuckers. Dr. Cox, these Europeans, know what I mean? I'm Farrakhan, never will I run. Robert Williams, nigga with a gun. George and Jonathan Jackson, Dr. Yosef Ben, Yakanan. Show and prove like Dr. Clark. I'm a goon cause I got the heart. I'm Dubois cause I'm hella smart. I'm Denzel cause I got the part. I'm Bianchi, Sutton Kufu, Mansa Musa, Shaka Zulu. I'm with Mia, I'm with Tulu. If I was Jesus, what would you do? I'm a Negro and I'm colored. I'm your nigga and your brother. Yeah, I kill you, but I love you. Accept your own and reject the other. What's your name?
Your name. And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you a dumb?
What's your name? It's the Chigaboo, it's the Porsche Monkey, it's the Sambo, it's the Oreo, maybe Revolution is just too much for the handle. I ain't carry no scandal, I ain't scary, got ammo. Harry Tuck with a candle, time to pick up the mantle. I'm a son to I ain't Queen of Zinga, Nefertiti and Queen Amina, Hatshepsut and the Queen of Sheba. She thinks she God, please believe. Name is Osama, great escape. Angela Davis, feet safe. With a Mandela, refuse to break. I'm anime, refuse to hate. I see straight through cause I'm late today. Miss Fanny Lou, I got things to say. Miss Shirley Chisholm, I paved the way. The homie queen came to slay. Better survive, I mean my Malcolm. Black love is the only outcome. I won't stop until y'all have some. I might say this shit gon' happen. I'm on shoot, I'm blessed the altar. I'm Nivea, I bless Walter. I'm Olakuna, I drop my daughter. I'm Oya, I cannot falter. I'm the one to give birth to stars. Masterful, how I work these bars. Series B to the earth to Mars. KOS, reverse the stars. Show now.
And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you a dumb?
Speak through me, ancestors. Speak through me. Jimmy Kato was an African warrior who refused to be a slave. Back then, enslaved Africans knew who they were. And they did everything they needed to do. Ran to the hills, burned the house down. Anything they had to do to not believe that they were slaves. I pretend to be a Catholic, but Ifa is what I practice. If we truly share the God, then why would they attack us? My captors speak Portuguese, I understand the language. I vow to never speak it cause it represents my anguish. Months on the slave ship, weeks on an island. Still haven't broke the warrior spirit I'm disguising. My people call me J-May, others call me Kato. They call the river Stono. They say that if you follow, that you could find the Uhuru, the end of all your sorrow. A whisper in my ear.
We burn Massa House tomorrow.
Congo yetu, yumbane kwa roho zetu. Nili pikana kume, kwa uhuru wetu.
Asante, my descendants, will you make my spirit welcome? The spear was my tool, but my culture was my weapon. Please repeat my story, cause I will not live to tell one. I achieved my glory when I heard them yell rebellion. Asante, my descendants, will you make my
Sour, come here.
The gun was my tool, but my culture was my weapon. Please repeat my story, cause I will not live to tell one.
Somebody come here right quick.
When I heard them yell rebellion.
For us, freedom
Y'all
was
hear me, don't
200
y'all?
miles away at Fort Moses. We just got across the bay when at night, forcing the fight where they lay, the fright.
Turn that light
knowing
off.
They might not see the day. We were strong, some of our own we had to slay. They were wrong, spiritually gone and led
Forgot
us
to
straight
mute
out
my
on the
mic.
throne. This was never my home, that's far away, I'm not alone. Spread out the bones and got our shake at the dock. They tell us to stop, we face to face if we escape. I know they too scared to give a chase. I put 2 more in the ground, let blood go down my face. Cold water, swim daughter, try to keep the pace.
Asante, my descendants, will you make my spirit welcome? The spear was my tool, but my culture was my weapon. Please repeat my story, cause I will not live to tell one. I achieved my glory when I heard them yell rebellion. Asante, my descendants, will you make my spirit welcome? The gun was my tool, but my culture was my weapon. Please repeat my story, cause I will not live to tell one. I achieved my glory when I heard them yell rebellion, rebellion.
You are as great as any man of greatness that you've heard about, read about, or seen in real life. Possibly greater.
Everybody wanna build with me, politic and chill with me. They see the fire still in me, the authentic is feeling me, the architects are feeling me. I'm dreaming about killing me. They wish that they could silence me because I feel so violently. We will not go quietly. Subscribe to me until this show is virally. Got millions trying to vibe with me. Let's build.
The Uhuru Academy overall is an amazing school from the teacher to the students. It's a place where kids can build their confidence and learn how to write, read, type, all of that good stuff. We learn our history here. We honor our ancestors, so we learn about who we are and where we come from, and I really enjoy this about this school. And like everybody's pretty much saying, it's a safe space, and we can always be able to feel like we can open up to our classmates and our teachers. So that's what I love.
I love the environment in that they promote not being afraid to ask for help.
Something positive about the Uhuru Academy is this is a safe space, and you can be able to say whatever you want to say without being embarrassed, just like how Imani said. I've been able to, sometimes I can be shy talking around people, but y'all have taught me not to be shy and everything. This is a very good school. The part that I love about this is when we do ancestor reverence and African history.
I think this is the greatest school I've ever went to because you teach me about my history, and at the other schools they never taught me one thing about my history. They just taught, the only black people they talked about at my other schools were Carter G. Woodson, Martin Luther King, and I think that's it. So you guys helped me learn my true history.
All right, piece of power, y'all. Look, if you or anybody that you know, right? You or anybody that you know are with child or just had a baby and is struggling with postnatal care with child and need help with prenatal care or with childbirth. The best, and of course I'm a little biased, this is my beautiful wife, but the best practicing midwife that I know is in Koyo Bina Ojuwoke of Uhuru Mama Maternal Service. All right. Get in touch with her today for your free consultation. Reach out to her at life@uhurumama.com. You can visit her at uhurumama.com as well. All right. Look, we're all about life, and Uhuru Mama is about stemming the tide when it comes to birthing healthy Black babies. Peace and power, y'all. Welcome to The Build with Baba Amin. Let me turn this mic down a little bit. Y'all know I got a Mufasa voice. But welcome to The Build with Baba Amin. I'm Baba Amin, if you haven't guessed that yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm Baba Amin Ojuwoke of the Uhuru Academy. All right, and I'm going to have that scroll that across the screen here in just a second, like boom, right? I'm Baba Amin Ojuwoke of the Uhuru Academy. I'm Baba Amin Ojuwoke of Lone Star RBG, right? I'm Baba Amin Ojuwoke, straight out of Funky Town of East Side. You know what I'm saying? And it's an honor to be here. Formerly Steve Richmond. Formerly Stephen Parker. Yeah, that's a whole nother story for another day. But I corrected my name a few years ago. The community corrected my name a few years ago, and I am a Baba Amin Ojuwoke. Born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas. Currently living in the beautiful Hopkins, South Carolina. Moved out here 5 years ago with my family to help the Washington family develop a school, right? A school that we helped them actually find, actually helped them start back in 2014. They're celebrating their 10th year. That's Uhuru Academy, South Carolina. You can visit them at uascinternational.org, right? So it's an honor to be here. Greetings to all. Yo, my brother Supreme Rock Africa. How you feeling, sir? Welcome to the build. My sister D, welcome to the build. Greetings to you, right? I decided to do this podcast because y'all know I go live a lot. I go live quite a bit. I have over the years. I've had the morning build with Baba Amin in several shows and series, limited series that we started. But I said the Spirit told me. And you know what? Let's pay homage to the Creator, pay homage to the ancestors, right? But the Spirit told me, right? Baba, take it serious. Get in the ring. We don't have enough positive, powerful messages out there. We don't have enough serious conversations going on out there. And really, you can never have too many. I would much rather do it, you know what I'm saying? I would much rather do it on our own platform. But, you know, they say go among the people, right? Live among them, right? And build on what they know. So, yes, we are developing our own platform. Matter of fact, let me shout out bbtumi.com, right? And from now on, I'll have that on the screen. But if you're looking for a Black-owned social media platform that's all about us, Abibitumi, ABIBITUMI.com. That's like the Swahili Mississippi, Abibitumi. You know what I'm saying? But Abibitumi.com. And Abibitumi just means that perfect blackness, right? Great platform. Want to shout them out right quick, right? But this is the build. And every week on the build, or every episode of the build, right, we're going to talk about topics that are trending, but we're going to talk about them from an African-centered perspective, right? We're not going to get on, you're not going to see nobody's name in my headline, so I'm probably not going to get tagged a whole lot because I'm not going to make people my topic, but I'll make the people my topic. Does that make sense, right? Us as a people can be a topic, right? But because I believe that we're seeing a lot of things. We're seeing these images, we're seeing these stories, right? But what are the lessons that we're pulling from it, right? We're looking at some serious things going on in people's lives, but are we pulling the value from it, the lesson from it, right? So before we get into our topic tonight, right? Before we get our topic tonight, I know there's some things trending out there, right? And if you got a question, you can feel free to put it in the chat, right? Shabaka Sankorden, I already started. He asked me, how do you feel about the term FBA? Well, I'm going to tell you like this. And for those who don't know, FBA stands for Foundational Black American. I'm going to say this. I get it as a strategy. I get it as a strategy to tie yourself to this country and seek reparations for the labor or the slave labor of our ancestors. I see that. I understand that part, right? I also understand the historical reference when it comes to saying foundational, right? Because our ancestors built the foundation of this country. This country was enriched off of enslaved labor, but not just enslaved labor like a man is standing over you with a whip and telling you what to do, right? But enslaved labor in the sense that it was also African ingenuity that built this country. The enslaved Africans that were brought over here, right? They weren't brought over here stupid. They weren't brought over here dumb. They were already master farmers. They were already master builders. They were already master strategists and tacticians. And you best believe that the United States benefited from that intelligence, right? So the term foundational, I get that, because our experience and interaction with this country is foundational, right? So I get that aspect of it. However, what I don't get with is the xenophobic aspect of it. Like you can have pride in our accomplishments and our culture, because we have a unique culture as Africans born in America, or African Americans, or foundational Black Americans. We have a unique culture, and you can have pride in that without stepping on somebody else. And I also believe in the strategy of Pan-Africanism as a strategy. I believe in working together and collaborating, right, with other nations and other communities with similar cultures, with similar historical experiences, right? I believe in that. I believe that when you're up against a giant, when you're up against an economic or a military giant, right, those of us who are working class, we have to collaborate with others, right? So that aspect of the movement, I don't agree with, right? I don't believe in saying, yeah, Africans hate us. Nah, man, we hate us too. Africans on the continent suffer from self-hate just like we suffer from self-hate. So when FBAs start using that as a tool to get others to become FBAs, I don't agree with that. I believe that people should become something because of what it offers them, right? Not in reaction to what somebody else is doing to them, right? And that kind of segues into what we're talking about too, because even in our movement, even in our African-centered Pan-African movement, right, it's unwise to join because of racism. It's unwise to join any Black movement because of racism. My advice is you join Black movements because of what that movement can build for you, whether racism existed or not. You work for Black unity because that's something you believe in, whether racism exists or not. So when you join a movement out of a reaction to somebody else's hatred for you, you haven't taken time out to really fall in love with the movement. And sometimes that might be what brings you in the door, but anger won't keep you in the room. Anger will get you in the door, but it won't keep you in the room. But in the social media age, if all I'm going to do is organize a rally, if all I'm going to do is sell you some shirts, if all I'm going to do is get clicks and views, all I need you to do is step in the room. I don't even want you to stay. Because if you stay, then I'm going to have to work. So I'm not opposed to FBA. I'm not opposed to Black Hebrew. I'm not opposed to Moore. I'm not opposed to any of that. I just want to see what you're going to build. Right? No, I didn't know that the term was copywritten by a podcast. Hey, that ain't none of my business because I'm not a part of any foundational Black American organizations. But I will work with any foundational Black American to uplift Black people, right? Which is also going to be kind of what our discussion is today. I don't care what you call yourself as an African, as an FBA, as a Black person. If we're building something powerful for our community, and we have that in common, let's get to work. So that's our question for today, man. I appreciate it, Brother Shabaka, on how do I feel about the term FBA. Hey, you get a chance, let me know how you feel in the chat. But to any FBAs out there, no plex, right? No beef at all. Definitely no debate. Let's build. right? The only debate I want to get in is who got the most acres, who built the most schools. That's what I want. That's what I want to compare, right? Right? Who's uplifting the most communities, right? I'm not arguing semantics. I'm not arguing history. I'm not arguing that, because all of that is up for interpretation, right? But who's boots on the ground, right? Right? I feel that. Shabaka, you got a right to that. You got a right. That's a very valid point that you make right there. You know what I'm saying? Very valid point that you make right there, right? To call ourselves Americans, telling the slave traders descendants we are still their property. So that's a debatable point, right? That's a debatable point. So yeah, and it's a fun debate, right? But at the end of the day, what kind of work we putting in, right? At the end of the day, if you got a responsible foundational Black American living on this side of you, a responsible Black Hebrew family on the other side of you, a Rasta across the street, a Black Muslim over there, an African-centered Christian over there, Pan-Africanist over here, so somebody practicing Ifa over there, but everybody believes in a safe neighborhood for the children. Everybody believes in taking care of your family. Everybody believes in building strong Black businesses in that community. You got one heck of a hood. You got one heck of a neighborhood, right? And according to all of their belief systems, they all believe in that. So if they all live next door to each other, it's all good. If the only difference is what we call God, I can live with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's my feeling about the whole thing, man. That's my feeling about the whole thing. But let's get into today's topic, y'all. Let's get into today's topic. Black power versus Black on Black crime. And remember to share this, all right? Remember to share. I don't ever tell y'all to share. But no, this right here, nigga, this right here, this is for the masses, all right? This is for the masses, not the classes. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to put this one out there. This is the one we want to put out there. This is the bill. So make sure you share it, all right? Especially if you're going to share your thoughts, share the video, all right? If you're going to share your thoughts, share the video, right? But don't share it if you don't like positive Black dialogue. Don't share it if you don't like Jews. You know what I'm saying? But definitely share it. If you know somebody who need to hear it, you need to share it. All right? But anyway, today's topic. Black power versus Black on Black crime. What do I mean by that? Bob, are you talking about Black power is about to take on Black crime? That the Black power movement is about to focus in on the eradication of Black on Black crime? Let me tell y'all something. Black power is how you eradicate Black on Black crime. But as long as you have human beings, you're going to have crime. As long as you're in a society that makes a definition, right? As long as you have a society that has definitions on what you can't do in that society, that outlines behaviors that disrupt society, then you'll have crime. So we have to first look at the very illegitimate term, Black on Black crime. The very anti-Black racist term, Black on Black crime. Number one, most crime is intraracial in America because most cultural groups live among each other. I'm going to say it again. Most crime in America is intraracial because most cultural groups in America live amongst each other, right? So to label a special kind of crime Black on Black and to weaponize it as a shaming mechanism to advertise the inherent inferiority of Black people, right? That's something that has to go away. So when Black power fights Black on Black crime, the first thing we're going to fight is the erroneous term itself. That's the first thing you have to fight. Because if you're not going to say white on white crime, and white people do commit crimes against white people, it happens a lot. If you're not going to call it yellow on yellow crime, brown on brown crime, if no one else gets a special designation and an asterisk, why do Black people get that? Why do black people get a special term called black on black crime? And why does it resonate with us so much? Because we actually feel the shame. We actually feel the hurt. I wonder, do other groups get this sort of group feeling when someone in the group commits a crime? I wonder within other cultures, and you know what I'm saying, if within other cultures, if someone in that culture harms somebody else in that culture, do they get an inherent feeling of group shame when that happens? I'm not going to answer that. I'm just saying I'm wondering. I have more questions than I have answers. So I also wonder why, when I look at TV and I see a crime, I see when they put on the news, shooting at the gas station, young black male opens fire, it kills one and injures two more. Why do I feel a kinship and a shame to the killer and the victims if they black? Like I feel like I'm a part of that situation. Do y'all get like an inherent, like, and then you hear us being frustrated? See, that's just us. See, the problem is us killing us. They not hurting us, we hurting us. Look what we do to ourselves. Don't we go into that mode? Look at us. We can't expect them to do nothing for us. Look what we do to ourselves. Right? That would make sense if on the other end of the spectrum, right, that culturally we believe that we're supposed to look out for each other. If culturally we're being raised to look out for each other. If culturally we're being raised to support each other, invest in each other, marry each other, build communities together. If that's who we were culturally, right? If our behavior culturally reflected that, then I understand the disappointment, right? Like if I grow an apple tree, if I plant seeds for an apple tree, and then the apple tree doesn't grow, then I'm disappointed because I put in a lot of work to grow that apple tree. I dug the hole in the ground. I put the seeds in the ground. I watered. I was patient. I waited for years and nothing grew. Then I can understand my disappointment in, man, I ain't got no apple tree. But if I don't plant an apple tree, or I haphazardly plant an apple tree, I believe in planting apple trees. I preach about planting apple trees, but I never actually water the seed. I might put the seed in the ground. It's not in the right distance from the other seeds. I'm not really putting the time in that it deserves, right? And I don't get an apple tree in the end. And I sit there and I'm like, man, I ain't got no apple tree. Well, of course you don't have an apple tree. You didn't plant one. So why do we feel this great disappointment when we fail one another? When we ain't planting the seeds that it takes for us to be there for one another? Because on the other end of the spectrum, you have black power. And when you hear the term black power, a lot of us in our minds, we get a little scared. You thinking black gloves, black hats, and guns, and we about to go shoot up the police. And then this one word come across your head that's been programmed in you: violence. Black power means violence. But is that what black power really means? Right? Just like black on black crime is not some special term. See, black on black crime is a way for those who would oppress you to prove that you're inherently criminal. So they label your crime. And when we buy into that and use terms like black on black crime, we're saying, yes, We are inferior, and we should be extra ashamed. Because black on black crime is horrible, but all crime is horrible. Unless it's an unjust law. Because an unjust law is not a law. But all crime, all murder is horrible. But why do we get a special category? Right? What Black Power tackles when it comes to black on black crime, we tackle black self-hate. Black on black crime is not the problem. It's the results. It's the symptom of a greater problem. We go after black self-hate. Right? We go after a lack of knowledge of who we are. We go after the lack of us determining the narrative on our own story. Right? If you look at what this current administration is doing, okay? And I'm going to speak frankly. They're rewriting the narrative. They're tweaking the American narrative because a certain segment of the population needs to be uplifted. A certain segment of the population has lost its confidence. The opioid epidemic. Right? Jobs being sent overseas, and that's the white working class needs a confidence boost. So all this diversity talk, right? These rich oligarchs don't care. That's a gift to the working class white person that says, you know what? You need a cultural boost. We're going to give you one. We're ending DEI. That's just a cultural boost. They're not even talking to you. This ain't even about you. It's a cultural boost. It's a promise that we're going to start hiring you over more qualified blacks again. We got you. Just let us steal right quick. Let us plunder right quick. Let the oligarchs get a whole lot richer. The belt's going to get tight, but we're going to give you your whiteness back. Right? It's an effective strategy. Your narrative impacts how you feel about yourself. So if your narrative is I'm a nigga, or I'm a bitch, a B, or I'm a slave, well, we know how those type of lives play out. We know where those people who label themselves that fit in the equation. You become something that you hate. So when you become something that you hate, and the person who's in the culture with you reflects that you hate, you know, is a reflection of what you hate, then you have an easier time killing that. Because what you're killing is the part of yourself that you can't stand. Anyway, I'm not the expert on that, but Dr. Amos Wilson was. And I have a quick clip from Dr. Amos Wilson where he's talking about black self-hatred and black violence against one another. Let's check it out. Uh-oh. Hold up. Let me do this. You ain't said nothing. I lost my spot, but let me get it back. Boom. Boom. I'm running it back on purpose. I'm running it back on purpose. Oh, y'all can't hear that? Hold up. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. Y'all got to hear this. Y'all got to hear this. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Y'all got to hear this. Hold up. Y'all got to hear this, man. Yeah. So could y'all hear my music earlier? Peace of power, Oba. Let me make sure this thing is playing where it's supposed to be playing. Hold up. Y'all got to hear this. Let me see. Movie, it says up. Sound effects is up. Internet guest, Zoom guest. When I go here, hold up. Y'all, I fix stuff, y'all. I fix things. I don't know what y'all talking about. Hold up. Zoom app activates. There it is. Watch this. Watch this. Okay, so watch this though. Watch this though, D. You ain't said nothing but a word. Oh, and I'm looking for a producer, y'all. Here we go.
This kind of violence is not merely random violence. It's not violence that just flows up from some kind of criminal personality within our youth. This violence occurs within various contexts. Violence, like any other psychological behavioral class, is the outcome of the interaction between particular states of consciousness of persons. People who engage in violence are people who are operating in a particular state of mind. They have a certain type of consciousness. They have certain types of attitudes, perspectives, and values and feelings that they exhibit toward themselves as persons, that they exhibit toward each other and toward the world. And so we are to come to understand the so-called prevalence of black-on-black violence in our community. We must also come to understand then the consciousness that is prevalent within our community and that is prevalent among our youngsters. The attitudes, the values, and the perspectives that they have, the way they look at each other and look at the world. These states of mind, of consciousness, these perspectives themselves reflect historical, cultural, economic, political, and physical environmental circumstances. To a very great extent, we're deceived by those who write about crime merely as a psychological state.
Come back here. So as Nana Amos Wilson said, we're deceived. Let me do that. We're deceived, right, by those who write about crime to believe that it's merely a psychological state, but we're taught that it's even a state of racial characteristic. We call it black on black crime because we want the crime to be black. We want to tie the crime to your blackness. No one else ties their crime to their color. We tie the crime to our blackness. So when we get sentenced and over sentenced, right? When we get over sentenced, there's no outcry because you are a problem. You've been defined as a problem, right? So when young Carmelo Anthony pleads self-defense, he gets the side eye. He gets a side eye because of his inherent criminality. So he not only has to fight for the truth, he has to fight the inherent criminality that's been placed upon him, that was placed upon him before he ever went to the track meet. Y'all see what I'm getting at? And when you have these preconceived notions, when you internalize them, you don't trust anybody that look like you. When you internalize them and you begin to turn your consciousness around, yo, that's a process. It's not an event. I know people who done read every Amos Wilson book and don't like black people. I know people who've read every Dr. John Henry Clark book that don't like black people. I know FBAs that don't like FBA, don't like black people. I know people who practice E5 that don't like black people. Christians, black Christians that don't like black people. That when we look at our people, we still see that inherent criminality. And we wonder if we're that first. When you see the young brother walk out the store, the first thing you wonder about is he a criminal? Am I in danger? And then when you see him pick up his baby, kiss his baby, you go, oh, okay, he one of the good ones. In other words, he becomes the exception, not the rule. You sound like one of your Caucasian counterparts. Oh, he one of the good ones. When it's just one of the good ones, you know that the good ones are in the minority, just by the way we say that. People used to see me with my children, right? Oh, I just love to see a black father with his child. As if I was the dodo bird, as if it was a rarity, as if I was a red panda, just something you don't see every day. When the truth of the matter is, our community is full of engaged fathers. Some are like, oh, I don't know about them. I know you've been fed so many images, and many of us in our lives didn't have fathers in our lives. We had other men who stepped up. And we saw other people's fathers. And we saw parents that may have been split up, but fathers who were still in their children's lives. But the narrative you choose to accept and put on your people, you know, you're marketing. You're marketing yourself. So when you put these labels on us as a group, I got to walk into a job interview, and first I got to worry about if when they see me, do they see an absentee father first? Do they see the thug first? Our children perpetuate the attitudes in the music, the definitions in the music. They're saying, I hate myself. I hate my culture. I love the people around me, but we all don't love ourselves fully, collectively. And we're all seeking validation outside of ourselves. So the money makes me more than you. My car makes me more. I try to attach something to my blackness to omit my blackness. It ain't just the thugs. Go to school. Get a degree. Get several degrees, and it'll offset your blackness. Get you a good job. Go to the military, and it'll offset your blackness. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing any of these things. But many of us go into it with a cultural attitude that this is going to fix me, and you're not even broken. You think you're broken because you're black. You think of your blackness as a hindrance, as a burden, as a curse. Man. So when we start talking about black power, because it threatens those who benefit from your current beliefs and your current value system in regard to your culture and your heritage, you've been taught to fear power. You've been taught to fear anything that might disrupt the current power structure. And you've been taught not to believe in your ability to not only gain power, but to keep it. Right? So youthful energy scares you. A strong brother, young brother that's walking aggressively like he trying to get somewhere, that scares you. It don't just scare you because you think he might be a criminal. It also scares you because you think he might be a rebel. He might not be going along to get along. He might have the nerve to speak the way he wants to speak and say what he wants to say. He might not be in the mode that we decided we needed to be in order to be successful in this country. For the last 60 years, integration and assimilation has been our primary strategy for success in the black community. I remember watching Good Times and watching the Evans family working hard to get out the ghetto, but they stayed together. Right? But then the Jeffersons made it out. The Jeffersons moved on up to the east side. And I remember our goal being grow up, get a degree, get a good job, and move out of the hood. I remember being pulled aside by my teachers because I made good grades. They said, hey, you can get out. So that's a strategy. Move out of this community. Get out of here. And those who are left behind, who are they? What's their value? Do they get up every morning and say, yo, I didn't make it. I failed. I'm stuck here. What type of attitude is that to have about the place you live? And when you have these definitions, right, how can you uplift yourself? How can you uplift where you live? We are so deep in that hole that we literally watch Arab-owned businesses, Asian-owned businesses in the midst of our community make bank, and we don't try to emulate what they do. We don't disrupt it. We don't compete with it. We don't emulate it. Nobody can sell hair like a Korean. That's what we say. Nobody can do nails like a Vietnamese. That's what we say. And can't nobody sell a pack of Black and Milds like somebody from Pakistan. We walk past these people, around these people, support these people, put their children through college. The best DEI program in the history of the United States was a diversity, equity, inclusion that Asian people received when they came to America and began doing business in the black community. The most inclusive people in the United States are black people. The only people we don't include is us. So it's deeper than black on black crime. Black on black crime is just a symptom of what's going on with us. Black power is the cure. Because you have to have the power to change things. You have to have the power to get better. And you can have power, but if you don't have the courage to use that power, nothing's going to change. So we've been made to be afraid of our own power. And I might say black power. You say, well, all people need power. Okay, cool. But I'm talking about black folks right now. Well, I don't like saying black power. That's racist. So why is it not racist to say black on black crime? Why can we have an exclusive crime category, but not an exclusive crime category? I'm going to say it again. Why can we have an exclusive crime category, but we can't have an exclusive climb category? Why can't we fall as a group, but can't rise as a group? Why can we be messed up as a group, but not be great as a group? Why come our greatness is about us as individuals, but our wretchedness is about us as a group? So when a young sister in Louisiana gets $1 million in scholarships, we don't say, look at black children out here getting $1 million in scholarships. We say, nope, that sister did. But if the sister next to her have a baby at 15, we say, all these women girls out here having these babies. Black girls out here ain't good for nothing but having some babies. It's everybody's baby. everybody's pregnancy. We must get wise enough to strategically change the narrative on our youth as a strategy. I'm not saying ignore the issues, but my teacher Ricky Clark taught me that there's nothing wrong with us that what's right with us can't fix. And in this society, if you can't talk about what's right with you, these folks gonna eat you alive. My experience has been different. We're celebrating 15 years. 15 years of the Uhuru Academy, our independent African center school that we started in the hood in 2010 with no funding. Just love from the neighborhood, love from relationships, love from parents and the community who trusted us and believed in us. It didn't come overnight. We did Uhuru camps first. It wasn't paying no money. Oh man, I lost some cars. I lost some houses. But it was an investment. It was an investment in our upliftment. An investment in an experiment to see if the narrative was told the right way, can we come together and do something positive? And when we came with the idea of the Uhuru Academy, it's a trip. Because the conscious community where we live didn't really embrace it like that. African center schools ain't new. But when we came with the Uhuru Academy idea, the so-called conscious community was not on board. But what we found out was the black community was. The black community at large. What we found was, if there was one thing that I could bring black people together around, it was the welfare of our children. So we started the Uhuru Academy. He was like, is this going to be a Pan-African school? A Muslim, black Muslim school? Moorish school? It's for everybody. We even came up with the term. We called it African-centered universalism. And we built a safe space for every child from every walk of black life to come. We didn't have a space. My mentor, my Jegna Ricky Clark, let us use his church, right? But we outgrew the church. But the next thing you know, Brother Terrence Montgomery, an OG out of Stop 6, y'all, he dedicated a house to us. The streets gave us a house in the hood where dope was sold out of at one time. It was a gang headquarters at one time. The streets donated a house to us that we converted into a schoolhouse. Right? That's our first schoolhouse right there. Right? We renovated this home in the hood. Nobody broke in the house. We have no problems at the house. We partnered with the community center across the street, had class in the house and at the community center. And we did it as a community. Everybody hadn't read Amos Wilson, but everybody knew the golden rule: treat others as you would want them to be treated. Everybody respected what we were doing. We were tuition based too, and people paid. The transformation that they saw in their children. Y'all, if you want to reach the parents, reach the children first. Build for the children, the parents will come. Build for the children, the parents will come. That's our first schoolhouse. Since then, we've become an online program and we have students all over the world. We moved out of South Carolina to help build UASC International. We mentored other African center schools, Village Life, New Akibalan. Right? And more. Now, public schools are coming to us and asking us to come train them on what we did. But we built ours out the mud. But we did it with community. We did it with community. Arthur Colbert, you see yourself? We did it as family. We did it being brave enough to look at each other and see each other's divinity. To understand that we all have flaws. We all have growing to do. We met up every Sunday. Everybody went to their temple, their church, their mosque. Well, after that, we met up at the bookstore. Shout out to the Doc Bookshop in Fort Worth. We met up and we explored our divinity. We explored how we can work together. We talked about Black love. We talked about our community. And we built and we worked and we did events and we opened up businesses and we worked together. So I know that Black power is good for us because that's what Black power looks like. See, when I think Black power, I no longer see the fist in the air with the guns and talking about fighting police. When I look at Black power, I see families stand together. I see Miss Sylvia building her community TV station, investing in her community TV station and highlighting all the positive things going on in the Black community. She right there. Right? When I think Black power, I think of my elder, Arthur Colbert Sr., sitting right there. One of the most beautiful fathers and dedicated fathers and husbands that I've ever met in my life. That's Black power. It's not a dashiki. When I see Black power, I see this room full of Black people, all from different parts of life, coming together, sitting together, smiling, celebrating, and being family. They're not divided by ideology. They're unified by culture. They're unified by common values, core values. That's Black power. So when I say Black power versus Black on Black crime, if you can say Black on Black crime, I'm going to say Black power even louder. And we define what that is. We define what that looks like. We define what that means. And if anybody who doesn't want this image for you is not your friend. Anybody that doesn't want your dollar to circulate in your community is not your friend. Anybody that doesn't want to see Black youth not filling up the prison system, but to continue to fill up the colleges, the universities, and to build new businesses, if they don't want to see that, they not your friend. And if they only want to see it, if you can do it in a way that makes them comfortable, they definitely not your friend. You can rise, but not if it interrupts me. Wait a minute. But what if part of your success is built on my failure? If you can't give up the part of your success that's built on my failure, then we're not friends. John Henry Clark said, Africans have no friends. And until you're your own friend, none of those friends outside of you, none of the friends you think you have on the outside matter if you're not your best friend on the inside. That's what we got today. I want to thank everybody that tuned in to the build. Share this video. Study this video. Take notes on this video because we're redefining Black power. We're redefining Black love. We're redefining who we are. We're standing up against all those negative definitions. For every one that they bring us that's doing something negative, we present 10 that's doing something positive. I want to do a quick shout out to the whole team. To the whole team at the South Carolina Juneteenth Freedom Fest. Great event coming up June 21st, Saturday, June 21st, 2025, downtown Columbia, South Carolina, Juneteenth Freedom Fest. And shout out to Columbia, right? Shout out to this city. You know what I'm saying? And to the Africans and African Americans in this city for organizing and creating special safe spaces for us to come and be ourselves, right? So if you're in Columbia, make sure that you're at the South Carolina Juneteenth Freedom Fest. Still looking for sponsors, a great way for your Black-owned business to be seen, a great way for your business to be heard, right? We're still looking for vendors as well. So you can scan that, pause this and scan that. If it don't scan, go to JuneteenthFreedomFest.com. All right. All right. So just want to do that. Got to do a couple of shout outs, man. I mentioned a brother by the name of Terrence Montgomery. He's incarcerated. He's behind the wall right now. This is the brother who dedicated the school to us, donated the school to us. He has a book out on Amazon called The Theology of Law, right? He's telling his story as only he can tell it. You can scan that and go to it, or you can just go to Amazon and put in Theology of Law. Support that brother. I want to get his son on, who is a Uhuru Academy student. I want to get him on here as a guest one day because he's a young entrepreneur now doing great things in the community. If they're going to show us the ones doing bad, I want to show the ones that are doing good. Thank you, D. Thank you for that. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Hey, Thursday, I'm back with my brother. It's the First Majority Season 2. Every Juneteenth season. The First Majority Season 2. Baba Rutaski, right? It's going to be Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. We're going to be talking about the decriminalization of black youth, because that's the mission. Our youth have an image problem. They've been criminalized. It's our job to decriminalize our youth. I say, so y'all make sure y'all join us. Got to shout out the UACI online summer STEM camp. Now, one thing about me, y'all, I work. I don't just talk. That's why Baba don't podcast on the regular, because I work. I'm boots on the ground. Shout out to Dr. Oya Mayat and Conscious Ingenuity. We came together with, it's our 4th year. We came together and formed the UACI online summer STEM camp. Again, I'm just giving y'all examples of black unity. I'm giving y'all examples of black people working together. All right. Let me not launch into another diatribe. But the UACI STEM camp. Go to uacistemcamp.com. It is the best STEM camp for black youth on the planet. The only one where we not only teach them STEM skills, coding, AI, and other skills, circuitry, but they learn the African contribution to STEM going back to the beginning of time. And it's fun and live and interactive. We've done studies around our camp. Do y'all know that students who complete the UACI online STEM camp show more than a 60% increase in their confidence in math? Do you want your child to be 60% more confident in math? Well, you need to go to uacistemcamp.com. We're also looking for sponsors and partners who would like to attach their brand to something powerful, positive, and that have been proven to be impactful. We have the data. That's the UACI STEM Camp. Go to uacistemcamp.com or get with me, because I know some of y'all ready to sponsor. What else we got going on? What else we got going on? Oh, graduation weekend. Y'all, this is the 15th year of the Uhuru Academy. We're having a graduation weekend at Sunchild Farms in Winston, Georgia. 50 acres, beautiful property, black owned, of course, right? But Sunday, June the 8th, we're having a community day. All right. Now, the 6th, that Friday, that Saturday, that's for the school. But on that 8th, the 8th, that Sunday, we're asking the community to come out. Okay. We're asking the community to come out. We're going to have vendors set up. We're going to do a homeschool coaching session. We're going to do some art. It's going to be a great fundraising day for the Uhuru Academy. That's in Winston, Georgia. We have our students from all over the country and Africa coming in and converging on that day. I'm looking forward to that. We're celebrating 15 years of Black love. All right, I got to go. Mom and Koyo will be coming on in about 30 minutes or so. You know what I'm saying? With the meeting of the mothers. So that's definitely going to be a powerful podcast. But it's been a cool episode. But I said I was going an hour. I went over 4. I appreciate y'all. Share this, like this. We're going to slice it up. Like I said, I need a producer. We need to slice this up into little snippets and spread the jewels around. All right? I love you. I don't mind telling you. This has been The Build with Baba Amin. Peace.
You are as great as any man of greatness that you've heard about, read about, or seen in real life. Possibly greater.
Everybody Everybody wanna build with me, politic and chill with me. They see the fire still in me, the authentic is feeling me, the architects are feeling me. You're dreaming about killing me, they wish that they could silence me because I feel so violently. We will not go quietly, subscribe to me until this show is virally. Got millions trying to vibe with me. Let's build.